Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. Welcome to this guide on beating Realm of Carnage, Wrath of Carnage, and Revenge of Carnage. If you're struggling to beat any of these stages, then I hope this video will help you understand how these stages work and learn any tips that might make your runs better. A large majority of this video will be focused on the first stage, Realm of Carnage, but the other two Hannya stages will also be discussed later. A lot of the discussion here will also center around no Uber, but there will be dedicated sections about usable Ubers in each stage, and there are a lot more usable Ubers than you would think. Now for the Realm of Carnage. This stage can be played once you have cleared Into the Future Chapter 1 and is available on the 11th, 12th, 25th, and 26th of every month, but you should avoid doing this stage right away. Before attempting this stage, there are a few prerequisites that you should check off your list before attempting the stage. These being, clearing Into the Future Chapter 3, as Awakened Bahamut is a key unit for this stage. Another thing to check off your list is ensuring you have the blood fruit treasures all maxed out in all 3 chapters of Into the Future. The blood fruits will make your anti-red units a lot more effective. To give an example, a level 30 Manic Island without blood fruits has 88,740 health and deals 17,137 damage against red enemies. However, if you max out this treasure across the chapters, these stats get boosted to 110,925 health and 20,565 damage against red enemies. These boosts help ensure your anti-red units can be much more effective for the Hannya, Boar, and Ginger Snaches. Speaking of these enemies, let's do a quick overview of Hannya as a boss. Hannya is a red enemy who sports a gigantic 800 range, deals a massive 36,000 damage, and will weaken all units that survive her hit to a fourth of their regular attack power. This will return a max blood fruit level 30 Manic Island's damage against her to just 5,140. This is why, despite having one of the lowest health stats out of all the Advent bosses at only 1,000,000, she feels way tankier than she should be. The Ginger Snaches are meant to be a constant nuisance, making it more difficult for you to hit the major support enemies present. The first is Boar, who is meant to act as the first body block and major pusher for Hannya. Being another red enemy, a lot of what you would bring for Hannya also works as counters. The main challenge of the stage is Arost, who is the only non-red enemy present and acts as the main challenge for many on this stage. There is also the occasional Sir Seal, who is just here to give you extra cash. Now for the stage itself, and how you would generally want to build your lineup for this stage. You'll want to bring at least 2 to 3 meat shields, 3 to 4 anti-red units, and 2 to 3 ranged attackers, as well as Awakened Bahamut. Here's an example lineup that I've made that works for this stage. Everyone here is at level 30, while Eraser is at level 40. Manic Mohawk, Eraser, and Manic Eraser are your go-to meat shields for this stage. However, if you end up having Hannya unlocked by this point, you can slot them in over Eraser, as Hanya's resistance to traitless can make the Arost phase a lot easier. Courier, Manic Island, and Row are some of the best units for this stage. Manic Island is a prime unit here, due to their immense bulk and solid DPS. Gracefish can still work well enough, but the stat difference between the two is notable, especially if you're stuck with level 20 Craze Cats. Row and the occasional Manic Eraser could stall out Boar phases, as well as Row being able to weaken Hannya to let your island survive for longer. Courier is just a really strong anti-red attacker, with high speed to land a hit or two on Hannya. They can, on occasion, use a peon as a stepping stone to chip Arost as well. The remaining 3 units that aren't Bahamut are Manic King Dragon, Kitty of Liberty, and Luxury Bath Cat. These are your standard range attackers for Arost. Kitty of Liberty also only has 1 knockback, meaning there's less risk of their attack being interrupted by Arost. Luxury Bath Cat is a good pick here as well, as they're a good roll compressor. They have 400 range and deal massive damage to red enemies, allowing them to be usable in both the Boar and Arost phases. Bahamut is easily the most important unit here, as being able to time him into Arost can make or break a lot of attempts. The recommended amount of hits to land is at least 2, but if you can land even just 1 hit against the bird, that takes a quarter of their health. This can lift a lot of extra damage needed from your ranged units, but landing 2 hits cleans their health in half. The spawn timers for Arost are directly balanced with a Wake Up Bahamut's cooldown of 97 seconds, as the time between the first and second Arost spawn is 116 seconds, as to ensure you have a second one by the time the Ostrich spawns again. This lineup is a good balance of anti-red units and ranger units for the Arost, but this lineup isn't a set in stone lineup for the stage, as there are other viable units in this stage. Some examples of other good units here include the aforementioned Hannya, whose resistance against traitless can stall Arost more easily. Power Cutter is another solid unit here. They deal massive damage against red enemies and sport strengthen, survive, and weaken immunity. These factors make them an excellent option for chunking Hannya, as at level 30, a well-timed cutter can deal 102,000 damage against Hannya in a single life, which can help a lot in the long term. If you happen to have defeated Baku before this stage, then Lone Cat and Kitten are another excellent option, as their freeze can make timing Bahamut into Arost much easier, although do keep in mind they also sport knockback, so watch for Hannya's attacks. Can is also a great option, due to their ability to deal solid damage and slow bore. If you had gotten their double bounty talent, then they can also be used to farm cash from ginger snaches, as Can killing a ginger snake with the double bounty drops 1026 cash, which can sometimes make or break a unit purchase or wallet upgrade. One last unit is iCat, who can help freeze the boar, and if some speed talent investment is added, can also freeze Hannya to give your units additional time to attack her. This video is so far only focused on the no Uber aspect, but obviously there are plenty of Ubers in this game, and many Ubers that also work in this stage. What Ubers are good on this stage? Uber types that are good include some of the following: Ubers who are fast, Ubers with strong anti-red or traitless capabilities, and Ubers who are weak and immune. Rusher Ubers like Tropical Kalisa, the Peach Devils, and Battlepod Kosuchimaru are all solid rusher units for this stage. Both Tropical Kalisa and the Peach Devils have anti-red capabilities, with Tropical Kalisa being able to deliver strong nuking damage against Boar and Hannya if timed right. The Peach Devils can easily slip into Hannya's range and attempt to freeze them. At level 30, they can tank a Hannya hit, or 3 if she is weakened with Row. Battlepod is helpful as a secondary rusher alongside Bahamut to squeeze more damage out of the bird, and with a slight Omni Strike, they can use any support that show up as a stepping stone to chunk the Ostrich. Even then, they have more than enough health to deal several hits against them. Generally strong anti-red Ubers for this stage include many attackers to help with Boar, such as Thundia or Raiden. CC units like Ice Crystal or Heavy Jack are also helpful in either stalling the Boar or regaining ground from Hannya. The bonus with these units is that most Ubers can outrange Arost, so if you really wanted to, you could use them as extra range damage. Most of the dedicated anti-traitless that exist in this game are Epic Fest units, but most of them do work well enough to be strong Arost counters. Just keep in mind that speedier ones like D'Artagnan require extra protection to prevent them from being sent off to their deaths. One last category of strong Ubers that work in this stage are Ubers who are weak and immune. Weak and immune Ubers can ignore Hannya's weaken and allow them to continue attacking at full power. Greater Balrog is a great weak and immune Uber for this stage, due to his high DPS, allowing him to quickly cut down the health stat of Hannya and Boar. Although if you intend on using him, I recommend getting him to at least level 33, as this allows him to just survive 2 Hannya hits. King Gamerion is also another solid pick, as their absurdly high base health and solid damage allows them to be extremely helpful in the Arost phases, and thereafter as a means to deal solid damage to Hannya. Of course, not all Ubers just fall under one category, and can fill out multiple of these, such as Knuckles from the Sonic collab fitting all 3 boxes. His high speed, weak and immune, and strong versus red make him an excellent option for this stage. However, the best Uber for this stage was without a doubt Pai, as this Uber was made specifically to counter Hannya even on release, as she both resisted and dealt massive damage to Hannya and was immune to her weaken, and with 440 standing range, it even worked for Arost. If you're willing to grind out the 15 red cat fruit she needs for true form, then this could increase her bulk to insane levels against red enemies thanks to the addition of insane resist, replacing her regular resist. Her attack rate also goes up, allowing her to defeat most enemies way faster. Of course, there are many other Ubers that work in this stage, but to prevent this video from going on for too long, I'm gonna move on. On screen, however, are some other Ubers that work extremely well, and if you want to pause the video to take a look, then you could do so. Now that you understand the types of units that are needed to beat this stage, I'm gonna leave it off with a few general tips and extra things about the stage. My first tip is to upgrade your wallet to at least level 3 at the start. You are given more than enough time for this. As the battle goes on, you'll want to get more levels into your wallet, but make sure you also have the cash to still send stuff out. My second tip is to recognize when Oros actually lands their hit. In his attack animation, they do 2 rapid up and down bobs before slowing down. This is where the attack animation loops. They only attack on the first bob, so time Bahamut around the first bob. Third, there are a total of 6 groups of ginger snitches, with the last one spawning shortly after the second boar. In total, there are 15 ginger snitches in this stage. After just over 4.5 minutes, boar becomes an infinitely spawning enemy, with them respawning every 2.5 minutes. Oros spawns infinitely after 6 minutes and respawns after every 2.5 minutes as well. This can make predicting their spawns a lot easier than their first 2 spawns. If you're struggling with timing Bahamut into Oros, then you might want to invest some time building up your Thunderbolt cannon, as this gives you more time to let Bahamut hit Oros while it's frozen. This final tip is more of a general rule for all stages, but before using power-ups like the Rich Cat, play the stage 2 or 3 times so you can get a feel of what is needed. Doing this might also save you a Rich Cat if you can beat it, or you can recognize you probably don't need one. Also, there is no need to use treasure radars, as if you do beat the stage, you can double tap the CPU power-up with the treasure radar to get Express Cat if you didn't get them in the first attempt. This is all I have to say about the base stage of Hannya's Advent, Realm of Carnage. However, there are also the Revenge stages. Wrath of Carnage is the exact same stage as before, but there is a restriction put in place. This time, you can only use basic, special, uber, and legend rare units. This restriction removes a lot of usable key units such as Row, Manic Island, and Courier, making for a much more difficult stage. If you had just beaten the first Hannya stage, it is best to hold off doing this one for a little bit, especially if you lack levels in regular Island Cat or King Dragon, as they become key units in this stage. One of the most important units in this stage is Talented Dark Laser, the true form of Dom Cat. Her weak and immune talent, alongside her attack and health talents, make her a very potent unit against both Hannya and Boar. The main thing about this is the NP investment needed to make her truly work in this stage. Her last main talent is her Wave talent, as even a single level in Wave is also a nice addition if you have the spare NP, as the slight boost in damage can go a long way. If you have low King Dragon, then they also become a very solid option, especially with attack talents, as this reduces the overall needed plus levels you need to be on level with regular King Dragon. While not usable, they have an attack combo with Masai or Jianshi Cat, which can give your units the leverage needed to beat the stage. Hannya is also another excellent option for this stage, as they give you an actual defensive option for the Oros phase of the fight. Other units worth mentioning here are Talented Ultimate Bondage Cat and Lil Island, as these two can help fill niches that are no longer present with Bondage's Freeze and Dodge being able to both replace iCat and Row Cat in terms of tanking, and Lil Island being able to act as additional leverage for your regular island. Dancer and Macho Legs are also good ranged options for the Oros phase, but note that Dancer can be quite pricey, and I strongly recommend you get the attack talents if you decide to use them here. Macho Legs should really be a last resort option for ranged damage, as their damage at lower levels isn't all too strong, but if you lack any other options, then using them can allow you to squeeze in some necessary damage. A powerful cat combo for this stage is Seasons of Love, a strong medium combo, which can give great stat boosts to several units, like your islands and dark lasers. Do note that none of the units in this combo are usable. If you're confident in just using island and dark laser as your attackers, then adding the Lion King and Three Kings combos on top of the Seasons of Love combo can make these two extremely potent. However, this combo does also contain 3 monthly units that span from April to June. If you haven't played the game during these 3 months, then your next best option is the Eye of the Storm combo, a 5-unit combo featuring Bronze Cat, Rope Jump Cat, Space Cat, Clockwork Cat, and Hoop Cat. All of these units are obtained from various Cyclone stages. This cat combo gives a 20% health boost to your units. This boost, while less effective than the 3 combos together, is still good enough at letting a level 40 Dark Laser survive 2 Hannya hits. With this lineup, a total NP needed is 500, with an absolute majority of the NP going into Dark Laser, with just the attack boost going into Dancer. Do remember that you can replace any of these ranged units, especially Dancer, with a lot of ranged Ubers, so consider using a ranged Uber or 2 before deciding to invest in Dancer right away. Also, if you have an extremely good anti-red Uber for this stage, you could possibly skip on investing in Dark Laser as well to save yourself a ton of NP. Some Uber combos can also be used here. Some uber combos that boost the strong ability that are good here include One-Way Ticket to Hell. If you're already using Dark Laser, this combo adds a fairly strong tank that can sponge hits and chunk Arost. Another good combo is Choppers, as this gives a slight attack boost to all your units and already uses Dark Laser. Dark makes a decent cheap DPS option for Bort, and Kaiji is a fairly strong option for Arost, especially when strengthened. If you're willing to wait until you clear Cats of the Cosmos Chapter 3 and have beaten Bahamut's talent stage, then unlocking Explosion is a no-brainer, as this allows him to deal much more damage against Arost with the outer explosion, reducing the work needed for your other units. You could also use Ginger Snake as a stepping stone to let Bahamut hit Arost, as the explosion gives Bahamut 75 piercing range. Here's an example lineup that is post COTC 3, as this uses Bahamut's explosion talent. Remember, if you don't have the units used in the strong combo, you could always substitute them with Ubers, ranged attackers, or other anti-reds. The NP cost of this lineup is 735, with most of the NP going into Dark Laser. Again, if this is too much NP, you can always add additional units to reduce the pressure offer. This is all I can say about Wrath of Carnage. The last stage is Revenge of Carnage. Unlike last time, if you could beat Wrath of Carnage, then you could easily beat Revenge of Carnage, as you regain access to your rare and super rare units. Unlike the last two stages, this stage is base hit, meaning you're given plenty of time to stall the start for cash. This stage now adds a bunch of zombie enemies, so having Z-Killers and a Holy Blast of any level can make this stage fairly easy. Having just one level in Holy Blast is enough, as the main use of it is to unearth Zerzeals and any accompanying Ziggies, but Zerzeal is your main target. There are 4 of them in total, but if you let them run unchecked, they can devastate your defenses. Housewife becomes a key unit in securing zombie kills, and if you haven't already, I recommend getting her Savage Blood talent if you feel like her damage isn't enough. At this point, you should already have units like Can-Can, Courier, and Manic Island at level 40 at least. These 3 units are all good options due to their damage, speed, and resilience. If you had gotten your Dark Laser and Dancer talented for the last stage, then they're also solid options. Bahamut is also a key unit once again, but unlike the last 2 stages, where you would use him to deal with a support enemy, you want to use Bahamut directly against Hannya, especially if you have his explosion talent. Maglev Cat is also a solid option for this stage, as they're free damage against any enemy, and if you get a kill with them, then your cash reward is doubled due to their double bounty. Other viable units in this stage include Shigon, whose resistance to zombie allows him to hold the line from many zombie enemies. Ectoweight is not the best option, but if you struggle keeping ground, then you could use them. If you had gotten all the way to 35 Behemoth culling stages done, but feel like your zombie damage isn't enough here, then picking up Cat Chief is an option. But because of how expensive they might be for you to hatch, it should really be a last resort. Row once again is a viable unit here, as their raw base health can help tank the zombies for a short period of time and can completely stall Hannya out. The Ubers that are good in this stage shift from more offensive anti-reds to more defensive ones, as well as Z-Killer Ubers. Cat Machine is a solid pick here, as their gargantuan health pool can keep Hannya stalled for a long period of time and can force spawning zombies to burrow underneath them. Heavy Jag is in a similar boat, but with the added bonus of being able to regain ground against Hannya thanks to their knockback ability. Zombie killers are where your main Uber focus should be, however. Most Iron Legion Ubers work here, as they tend to have the stats needed to kill zombies in 1 to 2 hits. Notable anti-zombie Ubers include Sarukani and First Form Lunacia, whose cheap cost for their stats can make a lot of zombies free food. Lunacia also has the bonus to target red enemies, being able to stall Hannya as well if she can freeze. The one-hit wonders, the true form of Sarukani, also work fairly well here thanks to their weakened immunity in the event they get hit by Hannya. One last Uber I want to mention is Knuckles again from the Sonic collab. Knuckles owners will be glad to know that he is perhaps one of the best Ubers for this stage, as he also comes equipped with zombie targeting, alongside his red and weakened immune attributes. This stage compared to the last 2 is fairly simple. Prevent the zombies from gaining too much ground, and you basically win. With this said, I hope this guide to everything Hannya has been helpful. If it was, then be sure to give it a like, as this lets me know I should continue making these sorts of guides, and if you enjoy Battle Cats content, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. If there's anything I may have missed when discussing these stages, please say so in the comments, as with all things like these guides, someone is bound to have missed something. Also, shout out to the following channel members: Dr. Deadly, Gamet, Ian Dean, Ninja Stars, Virus El Perro, Just a Shark, Potato King, Roast Cat the Best, Tentacle Gaming, Atsushi, King Wolf, Janek Altenberg, Glamorous, Bailey Grover, Jade Rabbit, and Mustafa for being silver members or higher. If you want to receive a shoutout like these channel members here, then become a silver member or higher today. Becoming a channel member supports what I do in a way that helps keep the lights on and allows me to continue making content for all of you to watch. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.